Only God knows I love you. I don't even know you. Only God knows. I know you. And I love you. First. What it is, folks, it's your homeboy First. Back again with another episode of Everybody Got a Story. Again, on this platform, I try to highlight the extraordinary stories of extraordinary people who ordinarily wouldn't have an opportunity to tell their full story. I got another good one for y'all today, especially if you love basketball. I got one of the best high school basketball coaches in all of this nation, and definitely the best offensive basketball mind that I've ever been around. I got my boy Anthony Carlyle with me. Carlyle, what it is, man?
Man, what's going on, man? Glad to be here.
Man, I appreciate you. You one of the first guys that I asked to do this when I had this idea. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that you followed through on it. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I call on you for something, you're always down with me. So I appreciate that.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You my guy.
I ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna go ahead and get to it though. All right, so are you from Yazoo City? Yazoo City, proud of it. But just describe your upbringing in Yazoo City for those that may not know a lot about Yazoo.
Yes, it was a good place growing up. Times have changed now. It was more so back then, like you go outside, you play all day. We played baseball, football, basketball. You went over each other's house. You ate at your friend's house. It was real, family oriented. And now, it's just like any other community. You have your violence, you have your drugs, but overall, it's still a good place. You just got to kind of, stay your distance out of certain areas and that kind of thing.
Okay. Now, what elementary school did you go to?
At the time, it was Woodfall Elementary, which is now it's the middle school. Um, Typical middle school. You just, with your friends, you hanging out. You used to always be in the same class with people, year in and year out. So you develop good relationships with people that you always was spending time with outside of school.
Now, you've become a legendary coach in your own right. And if you won't say that, I'll say that myself. Uh, but your father is a legendary coach. So how was it growing up as a coach's kid?
Man, it was difficult from the standpoint of your father, not being around as much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was fun going to the games, when you had a chance to go to the practices. But, when I was younger and wasn't able to go, I used to always have to go to my best friend Sam's house and stay with, his mother and father because my dad coached girls and boys. So practices a lot of times ran late. I was too young sometimes to travel to the game. So, a lot of times, I went a day or two maybe without seeing him. But, I understood that he was out working and then he was trying to provide. And once I got a little older, he kind of started letting me go with him to the games and that kind of thing. So, I really enjoyed that because I just wanted to be around him.
In America, if you don't know what I'm talking about Mississippi Sports Hall of Famer Archie Carlisle. How many championships your daddy got?
7.
That boy, that was cutting up. What? All of them? No, all of them ain't boys, is it?
No, it was girls and boys. I think it was maybe 3 boys and 4 girls,
Okay,
or vice versa. It was something like that.
he was getting it done. Now, you say that he did once you got a little older, he started taking you around to the game, stuff like that. Did that play a role in how you do with your oldest son, Dooley? Because America, if y'all don't know, I coached along with Carlisle my last 3 of my last 4 years when I was a teacher and coach. And his son was everywhere with us. You know what I'm saying? He always had his boy with him. So did your father doing that to you? Did that play a role in how you doing with your kid?
Yeah, and I think I might have had Dula around me, a lot younger, because I know how I felt not having my dad there. And sometimes as coaches, we spend time with other people's kids more than we do our own. And
Facts,
it's nothing
facts.
against, our kids, but we're working. We feel like we have a job to do, and we want to be an influence in those kids' lives as well. And sometimes I just think that we, not necessarily forget. It's just that time makes it hard for you to attend certain functions that your child, maybe participating in, or just getting home at a decent hour, just to spend time with them. So there's a lot of times where, you know, I would wake up and I would see him before he go to school. And then by the time I get home, it's 5-10 minutes before he getting ready for bed. So, once he kind of got of age, and especially in the summer times when, I could kind of take him with me, I've always just tried to have him with me so that, he can always be around me. So hopefully as he gets older, he won't look back and saying, well, dang, I missed a lot of time with my dad due to basketball.
That's real. That's real. Now we coached together at Velma Jackson High School in Camden, Mississippi. For those who don't know, Velma Jackson is in the rural area of Madison County, Mississippi, and their biggest rival is Canton High School, which is like the city school. So I mentioned that because in your area, Yazoo, you got Yazoo City High School, where right now you're the head basketball coach and you're an administrator. And you got Yazoo County, so it has some of that same dynamic as Canton High and Belma. But you had a unique situation because you ended up going to both schools. How in the world did that happen?
The only reason I went to Yazoo County was because of my dad.
Okay.
I wanted to stay in Yazoo City. I didn't want to leave. He had his own issues at the time with the administrators. So Yazoo County presented him an opportunity for him to come out there and coach. Mm-hmm. And when he told me about it, the one thing I respect him for, and that maybe led to my decision to go with him, was that he didn't force me to go. Mm-hmm. He said that he was going out there and, he was going to coach and he would love for me to come, but he understood that I, love being in Yazoo City, love playing for Yazoo City. And, I had a good relationship with my teammates because we had came up together. So he didn't force me to come. He just said he was going to leave the decision up to me. And I remember going to him one day and I asked him, I said, Dad, you've coached all these years. You won championships. You've taken other players to the Coliseum. If I come with you to the county, are you going to get me in the Coliseum? And, his response was, I can't promise you that, and he said, but we'll work on it. And, I just respected the honesty throughout the whole process. And I toured around with it in my mind and back and forth. And ultimately, it just, I said, I've been around him my whole life, in and out the gym. So I waited for this moment to finally get to play for him. And, I didn't want to pass up that opportunity. So even though I didn't want to go to the county per se, because that was our rival. And I developed some good friendships with some people once I did go out there. And we were able to make it to the Coliseum, which was something that was very special. That, you get a chance as a son to go to the Coliseum playing for your father, with no better feeling.
And for those of y'all in America, when we talk about going to the Coliseum here in Mississippi, that's where they play the title games and stuff like that. So that's a big accomplishment for everybody that play high school basketball in Mississippi. That's where they want to go to Mississippi Coliseum and get their hoop on. Now, how long were you at Yazoo City before you made that move?
I did 2 years in Yazoo City. I did 2 years at Yazoo County. So I did 9th and 10th grade year. Then I did 11 and 12.
How was the fan response then when you crossed over?
They hated it. They hated it. Like, I think now in coaching, I've dealt with so much being a coach's son, where people, oh, he's only playing because his dad's the coach, or, they say whatever to try to get under your skin. And then transferring and going to a rival school and then playing against your old school. I mean, literally, man, they booed me. Guys, yes, they booed me. I remember one game, I ended up getting a concussion. I mean, the crowd was cheering. It was like they was happy that I had got hurt. Man, it was guys I had friendships with, like, for years. Like, we just did not get along, man, because I'm the ultimate competitor. So, like, even though we was friends, now that we competing against each other, like, I put in my head that I dislike you or I, feel a certain type of way just to try to give me that competitive edge that I'm looking for mentally.
Right. Man, that's crazy. So really, you had the experience of one of our ball players, Brandon Weatherspoon. Then he kind of had that experience going from Velma Jackson to Canton High School and getting booed and stuff like that. That's crazy. So you said you switched up to be able to get a chance to play for your dad.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Because I had to. My mama taught me in 6th grade, and that was crazy. I had to call her Miss Wells, and she I was looking at my report card from that year the other day, and I had like a 97, 98 in English, but she up in there just finding stuff to mark wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she was intentionally trying to be harder on me just so she can make it known that she wasn't showing favoritism. So how was your experience being coached by your dad?
It was similar. I remember when I was 10th grade, I had probably a better relationship with one of our assistant coaches than I did with him. And, I used to always ask him, like, why he holler at me so much? Like, we live in the same house together. Like, if it's something he want to say, he can say it. But, I knew that he was being tough on me because he didn't want to seem like he was showing me any type of favoritism compared to other guys. And, like I said, early 10th grade year, it was kind of tough. But I think as the junior and senior year, it got a lot better because as a point guard, you're an extension of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So when you and your coach have that relationship, and it's basically you're trying to be him on the floor where you're doing the things that he want done, kind of what he want at certain times of the game. And I think that by being a coach's son, being at home, having those extra conversations outside of practice, because a lot of times, we practice for 2.5 hours, and that's it. You don't see your guys till the next day. You might call a guy in your office and talk a little bit, or, throughout the school day, you might see him in the cafeteria. You might get a chance to talk to him a little bit here or there. But, for the most part, it's hard to create a lot of time outside of school and practice and those kind of things. So just being able to go home, riding in the car, or on the weekend, we may go somewhere, you constantly having those basketball conversations. So as a point guard, you start to learn what he wants, certain times of the game, what he needs out of you. So I think that it ended up working out good at the end because a lot of times he didn't even have to say anything anymore because I knew what to expect and what he wanted.
So did you switch mid-year or something like that?
No, it was at the end of the season. 9th grade, I played 9th grade. 10th grade, I started as the point guard. And then at the end of that season, that's when he accepted the job at Yazoo County. So then I went out there for my junior year, and we was talented that year, but we ended up losing in the district. We just couldn't get on the same page. But the senior year is when we made the run and ended up losing in the semifinals to Corinth.
So he was your coach all 4 years then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I was mixed up. I thought maybe he was already at Yazoo County while you at Yazoo City. Okay, so you had it rough then. I only had my mom there 1 year, so I know you caught it.
Hey, I'm still catching it as a coach.
Oh no, I remember your pops used to come to some of our practices. He'll be over there really, really looking, and I can only imagine whatever he might have been saying to you, because he would travel everywhere we would go. He would try to get there. Atlanta, he was with us. I want to say he went to Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? Just very supportive. So I can only imagine. My mama criticized all this stuff I'm doing right now. You know what I'm talking about? So I can only imagine your pop. And my mama ain't never done none of the stuff I'm doing in terms of in the entertainment business. But your pops is a Hall of Fame basketball coach. So I can only imagine what he might say to you.
Look, with this season due to COVID, he came to our last 2 playoff games after he got the vaccine and everything.
That's
but
good.
He missed, probably about almost 2 months once we started back playing.
Yeah, I know he hated that.
He was on the computer every day, like the day after our game, because I gave him my huddle account. So he was watching the game every day after our game. So, like for a while, he didn't call, he didn't say much. But then once he got that huddle account, man, he was calling every day. Y'all need to do this. You're not doing that. And I'm like, but I appreciate it.
No doubt about it. Now, this is one of the most important questions that I ask all of my guests who have attended college. And as I tell them, I keep seeing so many young people claim that college is a hustle, it's a waste of time, they hate their major and all that kind of stuff. So I really try to get some insight from my guests uh, to kind of get these people some game on, making a better selection for themselves. So what college? Well, excuse me, not what college. I know what college you attend. You attended USM like I did. That's why I met you. But you went to Holmes Junior before that. So what made you select Holmes Junior out of high school? Let's start there.
Um, we didn't have many options back then. Playing high school basketball, the rule at the time for junior colleges, because they wanted to make sure junior colleges had a chance to get players. So the rule back then was whichever district you was in as far as the junior college, they could protect kids. So you take, for instance, like Holmes Community College, where the schools in Holmes district was more so like Canton, Yazoo City, Yazoo County, maybe some schools in Holmes County, and it may go up the ridge. I'm not sure exactly how many, but as a school, the coach could create a list and say that, okay, Anthony Carlyle in Yazoo City, this guy Yazoo County, this guy is such and such, that whoever he felt were the top players in his area, he could put them on a protected list, which means that no matter where I wanted to go or who else wanted me, I had to go to Holmes Community College.
That's
So
crazy, bro.
I think back then it made the college coach's job easier. So now you see junior college coaches, they have to go out and actually recruit. They're at games, they're building a relationship with the players, they're trying to get them. Back then, the recruiting job was easier. You didn't really build much of a relationship with the players that you had coming in, because honestly, I really didn't have to, because whichever the best players in my area that I knew that other people would try to get, I just put them on the protected list. And then you have to go through this whole legal battle, court, and all that kind of stuff just to get out of it. So honestly, at the time, I didn't want to go to Holmes. I had been talking to a couple of other junior colleges that I felt were a better fit, but based on the fact that he had me protected, that's what led me to going there.
All right, well, if you weren't in that kind of situation, then where would you have ended up?
I think I probably would have ended up with Coach Moore at Hines.
Okay.
He had recruited me pretty good, talked to me a lot, had a good relationship with him. I just felt like, it was a good situation for me to go in, versus Holmes at the time. But, once I got to Holmes, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot under Coach Kimball. He's probably one of the best X's and O's mind that I've probably ever been around, man. He can draw up a play in a matter of seconds.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's what's up. Now, like I said, I met you at Southern Miss. When I was moving my mixtapes and I think just hooping in the Payne Center together. Payne Center is the recreational facility for students at University of Southern Mississippi. So, what made you choose Southern Miss?
I had been around basketball at that particular time so long that I was a little burnt out. I had a couple chances to go play at some 4-year colleges, but man, I was like, I've been around basketball playing my whole life, and I had already made up my mind that I wanted to go into coaching. And I understood, just being around my dad, how much time, coaching took up, how much actually goes into it in order to be successful. So I just said, man, I want to have a little fun before I hit, the real world, So I decided that I wanted to go to USM. They had a good sports program. They had a health education program. I was, majoring in PE at the particular time. But when I opened up that bulletin, and I struggled at that time trying to pronounce kinesiology, and I think I took one kinesiology class, and I think I had to drop it.
Okay.
And I said, man, they had health education and coaching, so I switched to that. So I'm gonna have to take kinesiology, man. So that's why I ended up going to Southern Miss because of the sports program.
All right, now that was the good PG answer. I'm sure your basketball players that's the answer you want your basketball players to know about. But we know Southern Miss is known for some extracurricular activities like Q Delta weekend and things of that nature. So I think that played a role in you going to Southern Miss as well.
I went to one Q Delta. I knew that Southern Miss was the place for me.
There it is. That's the real answer. That's the real answer. All right, now of course you graduated from Southern Miss then, and this is another fun question because people have different experiences when they get out here in the real world. Again, America, young people get ready to go to college. College is still not the real world. You caught between being grown and being a child. Your parents still gonna hook you up with money and stuff like that. So, how was your experience your first year when you got out here in the real world?
Man, everything happened so fast. Cause see,
Okay.
I graduated in December. I wanted to wait until May, but the program that I was in, they kept saying that they was finna phase it out because there wasn't a lot of people in the program. So I was trying to push it out to May, but they was like, "No, you got to get out of here in December." So I graduated in December, and my dad was like, "Hey, man, we need a PE teacher in Yazoo City, so." We're gonna get you hired there. You can work under me. I had went on a couple other job interviews, and so I ended up taking that job. And I tell people, man, I got baptized in the education. It's already hard to start in the middle of the year, and then at that time, Yazoo City School was a struggling school. So I started in December, the week that you get out for Christmas break,
Mm-hmm.
and I started that Tuesday. And I went to the front office, introduced myself, let them know that I got hired, that I was going to be the PE teacher. The principal at the time, he didn't call me in the office. He didn't talk to me. He didn't let me know how things go. He didn't show me around. He didn't do anything. He just told the secretary, print out a roster. They gave it to me and told me, go to the gym, And during that time, testing was all over the place. So, when you exam week, your periods, you might have this period early this day, and then you might have some more periods another day. It's not your regular school day order. So my dad only worked a half a day at that time, and he get to work at 11:30. Well, his class was scheduled early that day around, they might do the afternoon classes that morning so that those people take their test. And the PE teacher left because he was like, "Hey, the bell just rung. This my break." So in come about 100 kids, and here I am standing at the door, and I'm the only teacher in here. So I made a phone call with 100 kids. I said, "Dad, where you at?" He said, "I'm at home." I said, "What you finna do?" He said, "I'm finna take a shower, and then I'm finna head to the school." I said, "Man, I don't think you're gonna be able to get that shower today, man. You're gonna have to come on to the school, man. They got me in the gym with 100 kids." So, like I said, man, that's how I got introduced in the education. And if it wasn't for coaching, I'd probably be finding me something else to do, man. But I survived.
Do you remember how much you made that year?
Man, look, all I remember was I had one bill, and that was my car note at the time. I remember it was $525. I never forget because I couldn't wait to pay it off.
Right.
I want to say, man, I might have made between $1,300-$1,500 a month. And the only bill I had was my car note, and I paid that $500, and I had about $1,000. But I'm fresh out of college. We learn how to survive in college and stretch money. So I was staying at home with my dad, so I wasn't paying any bills or nothing, or a whole lot. I just used my money every weekend to go to Hattiesburg. Every time we got a free day off of practice or something, because I was in the real world, but I was still in college mode. My friends have fun. So, every weekend, man, I would gas up, and the money that I, had, I would just use that and go to Hattiesburg, stay for the weekend, and come back on Sunday.
But you up here facing 100 kids. It's like you what's that movie 300? You versus the 100 by
Right.
yourself. You
And
facing them
look,
off.
and that was with a coaching stipend.
Lord have mercy.
Well,
Paid
I
teachers
only got one.
100 grand. Paid teachers 100 grand. I'm gonna keep saying it. Go ahead.
I was coaching girls and boys basketball, but I only got paid for one.
That sound like the educational system right there. That sound like the educational system I know. Now you started your coaching career off under your daddy. So now you played for him. Now you coaching under. And then of course we're gonna get into it. You went on to do your own thing as a head coach. But just how overall has it been? It's one thing playing for this Hall of Fame coach, but now you're coaching, knowing that everybody, the Coach Carlyle that comes to their mind is him. You know what I'm saying? So how did you carve your niche in that space? And did that add any extra pressure given his achievements? I know you got 5 total rings as a head coach. He got 7. Does he kind of throw that at you any time? Oh, how is it that being overall?
Man, it was great because I think in anything that you're doing, any profession that you're getting involved in, I think it's important that you be around somebody that's successful, somebody who's done what you're trying to do before. I could have probably went and worked under any head coach at that particular time, but I don't think I would be as successful now if that person wasn't doing some of the things that my dad was doing. So I just got the chance to kind of pick his brain. Like I said, it kind of goes back to when I was playing for him. So now that I'm coaching with him, I'm with him outside of these 2.5 hours of practice. So then when we're at home, we're having discussions, we're talking. I'm trying to, okay, why are you doing this? Why did you do this? Or, and then at the time, I would be looking at right now. And when he explained it, he's explaining the reason why he's doing certain things because he's probably 3 or 4 months ahead, like down the line, like, hey, because we're going to need this at this point in time. So right now, it may not work or it may not look like it's working, but I'm getting ready for 3-4 months from now. So I got a chance to learn that. Like I said, he would wake me up in the middle of the night at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, man, I had a dream. He was like, we've been talking about such and such, trying to figure out how we was going to do this or, this play or something. He was like, I figured it out. It came to me while I was asleep. So he'll wake me up so he can tell it to me so that he doesn't forget. So when we get to practice the next day, we can go ahead and implement whatever it was that, he found out. And I used to be mad because I'm like, I got to go to work in a couple of hours. You ain't got to go to work till 11:30, man. Like, this could wait. And once I started coaching, I started having those same dreams. Some of my best adjustments and things have came, while I was asleep, just in a dream and that kind of thing. So, him being successful, winning championships, I don't think that bothered me. He got 7. I teased him, though. I said, man, you only got 3 on the board side now. I got 5 on the board side. I might not catch you overall, but, I just wanted to catch him at least on the board side. But, I'm a competitor, man. And, I look at him, a lot of other coaches who have won a lot of championships. So I know that in order for me to be in that conversation, then I got to try to get as close to them guys as I possibly can.
That's what's up. Now, of course, you know about the $5 coaches in the stands.
They $7 now.
Oh, it's $7. They got a raise. Okay.
Yeah, they got a raise. It's $7 now.
The $7 coaches in the stands. Some of our players have been coaches in their minds, because your players were criticized. It's hard being a coach. I remember one year we were down there at Jack State. I don't know if you remember this fan saying this, but he told us, he said, I feel for y'all coaches. Y'all got these 15, 16-year-olds out there bouncing y'all check. You remember that?
Yep.
But folks don't realize that's really how it is. So given the fact that it's hard, what advice would you give to young coaches that's getting in this game? Look, like I got one of my youngest, Jordan Whittington. He's an assistant coach right now for Madison Central. I'm very proud of him. My first year as a teacher and coach, he was one of my players. And so that's my first player to go into coaching. So what would you give, what kind of advice would you give to somebody like him that's getting their feet wet in this game, man, and trying to have the kind of success you've had?
Be a student of the game. That's number one. It's too many resources out here now for us not to know certain things. Now we're not going to know everything,
Right.
but you know, you got YouTube. You got a lot of games on TV. You got people doing a lot of web things as far as clinics and that kind of thing. So it's so much stuff at our disposal. You could just kind of stroll on Twitter now and a basketball page might retweet a nice set that a college or somebody ran. So
True.
it's a lot of stuff out there now that me and my dad always taught they didn't have growing up. So as coaches, he made a lot of mistakes. And that was his thing. Like I coached 40, 45 years. So I'm giving you all of this in one whop so that you don't have to make all these mistakes that I made. I can tell you what's gonna work and what's not gonna work. They might have went years doing things and then before they figured out like, hey, this doesn't really work. You know what I'm saying? So number one, just being a student of the game, man. Like learning as much as you can for drills, different plays or sets, depending on your personnel. And then sometimes you learn stuff based off personnel that you don't even have yet. But, one day you might have, so then you're able to kind of go back to that and be able to use it. And I think if you're a student of the game, you're working hard, that's going to help your confidence because you know what you're doing. And then surround yourself with, coaches that in your eyes you view as being successful. Even if you're unable to work with them to get under them to learn and grow, call them, see if you can get a conversation with them. If you live in the area, see, can I just go and meet and sit down and talk with you? Develop that relationship, that bond, so that you can have somebody that can maybe lead and guide you and help you from making mistakes because they've already been through
That's real now, America. I can attest to this. This man ain't just talking, he lived everything he just said. I used to tell him time he was too cordial with all these other coaches that we were coaching against. Wherever we went, he know every coach across this state, no matter where we go, and he go and have a conversation with them. And I'd be real adversarial and stuff like that because I'm ready to beat their tail. But he would always do that, but it was strategic. You know what I'm saying? Building those relationships, networking, and we're gonna talk about this a little later on. But you told me one time, part of that you hope to be a college coach one day, and you're gonna be recruiting these guys board. You know what I'm
it. Right.
saying? So, like you said, your daddy was seeing 3-4 months down the road. You seeing years down the road. You know what I'm talking about? And you know what I'm saying? That I respect that. Even though I used to get on you about that, I do respect that. You know what I'm saying? That was dope. Now, before I get into all the titles you won, man, I want to start off with your first year as a head coach because I like to say everybody want to eat, but nobody want to cook. You know what I'm saying? Meaning everybody wants the rewards, but nobody wants to do the hard work. You know what I'm saying? That's going to lead to those rewards. You know what I'm saying? So everything wasn't just sweet out the gate for you. You know what I'm saying? So just describe your first year as a head coach at Velma Jackson High School in Camden, Mississippi.
My first year was tough. I didn't even have an assistant coach then.
Mm.
So, I had like I said, Dooley was just, about a year or so old at the time. So I was in grad school trying to get my master's. So it was a lot, where I tried to take care of myself health wise because I couldn't afford to be sick because I didn't even have anybody to practice my team when I was out.
Carlisle, what other than just the basketball, can you kind of make America aware of the other things that you as the head coach then had to do because you got driving the bus, you got washing the clothes, you got breaking down the film and all that kind of stuff. So who had to do all that since you didn't have a head coach? I mean, an assistant coach.
I had to do everything. So when it's time to wash clothes, I washed the clothes. I had to drive the bus to the games. Um, You know, you have to practice. You got to watch the film. You got to break down the film. You know, I didn't even have where I could divide the team up and send half on this end, half on the other end, you know, or just getting the input of somebody else's view. You know, I didn't have any of that. So, like I say, when we finished practicing, I didn't even have anybody to watch the kids while I try to get to grad school on time. You know, I was threatening to be kicked out of class because, you know, I almost had too many tardies, you know, I'm trying to get to Jackson, trying to get my master. So, you know, it was difficult, man, but I was real confident. I didn't know everything. But I didn't let my players know because they were looking at me like a first time head coach that maybe I didn't know what I was doing, you know. So I had to have confidence.
And how old were you at the time?
At that time, I probably was about 24-ish, maybe 25, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to have confidence, even if I wasn't as confident sometimes, because your players know you. So if you show that you're not confident, then they're gonna, you know, not have confidence. So, um, you know, it was tough, and we started a lot of young guys. They were freshmen. Um, we had a couple of older guys, you know, that was left from the previous team, but they hadn't played as much. So, you know, it was just a struggle. And by the second half of the season, we kind of start, you know, winning a few games, start growing a little bit, and we made it to the district championship. Made it to the district championship, lost, and we won our first playoff game, and then we went on the road and lost to Boonville in our second playoff game, which they had won a championship, and then they ended up losing that year in the finals. So, you know, I had kind of told my guys about how it was going to be going to Boonville, that area, student section, and different things. And we went up there and played a great game, you know, and we ended up, you know, losing by 8. And once that was over, you know, I had one of my kids, Justin Washington, came to me a couple of days later. He was like, man, coach, you did everything you could to prepare us for that environment. But he was like, nothing could prepare us other than going through it. You know, and once they went through it, they saw what it was. They kind of understood. And Dee came to me, and Dee was like, Coach, he said, we got 3 years left in high school. He said, we're not losing anymore. You know, and most time when basketball season over with, you know, some guys may play other sports, or it might be kind of hard to, you know, get guys to work out. You know, they want to break. But those guys, man, we said we're gonna go to the track, we're gonna train, we're just gonna get faster, we're gonna you know, jump higher, we're gonna get stronger, like we're gonna do whatever we can so that we don't have this feeling again next year. And if you want to win, you're gonna have to go through Boonville again, you know. And every day practice, you know, we talked about Boonville, Boonville, Boonville. And I think I said it so much that by the time we met them in the playoffs the next year, like they hated Boonville. You know, they were just like, "Cole, we just so tired of you talking about Boonville," you know. And you know, and I just think that was, you know, part of our success. Like those guys took defeat, and then they didn't let that, you know, determine their path. They used that as motivation to come back and work harder to improve. Which, you know, we met them in the North State Championship, which we beat them, and then we ended up meeting them like a week and a half later in the state championship, and we beat them again.
Okay. So shout out to Quinndary Smith, my boy Money. You know what I'm saying? Point guard. Best ball handler I've seen live. Bad man. Professional basketball player overseas right now, too, by the way. So shout out to him. So y'all got into the run. Ended up running off 3 straight at Belmont Jackson. Now I'm from Canton. You know what I'm saying? And that really changed the dynamic around here, man. Because when I was growing up, Canton High is the basketball school. We had guys like Alonzo Lane who went and played big time college basketball at Arkansas. Zoe Gillum, you had all these kind of guys. So Canton High pretty much knew they were gonna win in basketball. Football was Belmont Jackson. You know, folks would be in the stand, man. Them country boys, they country strong out there. So with you being a head coach at Velma, it really changed the dynamic to where Folks expected Velma Jackson to win all these games in the rivalry. Folks expected Velma Jackson to be winning the championship. So, can I just talk about the whole dynamic of changing the culture in terms of basketball out there with that program?
Man, just getting in and working. It was funny at first. I remember my first year, the girls were really good. Coach Brown always, did a great job with the
Oh yeah,
girls.
yeah. The girls always had. Now I will correct myself on that. The girls going all the way back, probably my whole life, had a tradition of being good. You know what I'm saying? So that's true.
And they were good when I got there.
Yeah.
And man, it was to the point where it felt like fans came to the game to see the girls, and by the time the boys got ready to play, it's like they would leave. Like that's how it felt. We didn't feel like we had like a lot of support at that time. And, you know, you don't feel a certain type of way about it as a coach because you understand in this business, people support those who win.
Mm-hmm.
People not gonna support a program that's losing. That's I know it's the right thing to do, or hey, we're gonna support the kids no matter what. They are not. I don't care what level, whether it's high school, whether it's college. If you're not winning, they're not gonna support. So I used to always tell the guys, if you want people to support you, you want people to come out to the games, then you have to win, and you have to give them something that they want to come and see. So I just think that was, part of it. That's why we train and condition the way we did so that, like I said, we can run fast and jump higher. So now if you're getting dunks and those kind of things at the game, people want to be there on Tuesday and Friday night. That's because they're scared they might miss something. So, and that's what we tried to do, man. We just tried to get in there and work hard and, put a good product on the floor. So not only could we win, but, we could get guys chances to go to college, get an education for free, stay out of debt. And then the ones that, choose not to go to college or didn't have that opportunity, you being a part of a team, you learning some values in life that can help you go be successful, within being in the program and things like that.
So I know you've won five titles overall, four at Velma Jackson, one at Columbus in Columbus, Mississippi. Of those titles, which was your most gratifying?
Ooh, man, I know all of them were, because all of them were.
Oh, don't give
No,
me the,
I'm finna
the
just
PC answer,
no,
Carlisle.
no, all of them were because all of them did something different. But none of the things that happened in all the championships couldn't happen without the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was special because, like I said, that was just my second year as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it was showing me that, hey, my work is paying off. It was showing my kid. That was the best thing happened to us at Velma. Because, they thought I was crazy when we were doing all this training, all this conditioning, and, everything that I was asking them to do. That's a hard sell to kids nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So to turn around in year two and those guys win a state championship, it made me almost like a genius that everything we was doing, it paid off. So it made those kids want to work harder. It made the kids that came in after them work even harder. So it continued to run itself in a sense, because you sold them on the idea of what it takes to win and be a championship program. So I think, nothing else happens without the first one, which was, to me, that was the best one because everybody told me when you get into coaching, you got to wait 30, 40 years. You got to pay your dues and, you're lucky if you win one and that kind of thing. So, like I said, to do the first one in year two, that was great. Now, the last one that we won at Velma, that was special because of, a lot of things that we endured the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
We had players on the team that were going through some off-court issues, at home, work-wise. We were all kind of battling different things, different distractions, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of, throw us off from what we were trying to accomplish. And, we fell short the 2016 season. So to come back in 2017 and take a lot of the things that went wrong and we fought through that to come back and win it, that was special because it showed me as well. We preach to our kids, you got to fight through adversity, and then sometimes as coaches, when adversity hit us, we don't take our own advice sometimes. So when you steady preaching to kids about certain things, and then when things hit you, you have to take your own advice. So to accomplish that was great. The Columbus, that was great. I always say they don't talk about it, but I'm not sure in Mississippi that they can show me where a guy did back to back 2 years at a different program. To win at Velma in 17 and take over another team in Columbus and win at 18 9 months later.
Right.
I'm not, if it has been done, I'm not sure, how many have done that. They don't talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very unique. You said a couple things I want you to touch on though. All right. The first one is about the training. Now, of course, don't divulge any of your secrets or nothing like that. That's making what you do special. Even though I don't think there's many folks that's gonna emulate that, because getting their kids to buy into that track ain't gonna happen. It just probably ain't gonna happen. But when I first started coaching with you, that's the word I kept hearing over and over again from the guys. That track, that track, that track. So kind of just go into what your track program was all about, because you hit the nail on the head. It's not many players gonna go through that. But once you won a championship, you can say, this is what the track leads to. But before that, I can only imagine how tough that was. So how, just describe for the people how grueling the track is.
We call it 6 weeks of hell. That's what we try to make it out to be, because that's your foundation. Everything you do, I tell them all the time, I can't practice you for 2 hours, 2.5 hours if you're not in shape.
That's right.
I can't practice you if you can't handle me fussing at you, you're not mentally tough, that kind of thing. And then number one thing is we want to try to prevent injuries.
Right.
When you're in top shape, you're in condition, and you're taking care of your body, then that helps eliminate, a lot of injuries sometimes. So that's what the 6 weeks of hell is just basically about. We're trying to tear your body down and build it up stronger.
Do they touch a ball?
But I touch a ball now.
Whoa! Quinndary, Moses, DD, Anthony, Teaspoon. Y'all hear this man. The man that got soft. Y'all need to get hold to him. Go to his house. The man that got soft, man. Carlyle, what you doing?
Maybe I need to take the ball away, because we ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because, see, the thing then was those guys I knew were going to work. So even outside of the training, they were going to go play ball. They were going to work on their skills. They were going to get in the gym. Now, like I said, that's years later. Kids nowadays don't do anything unless the gym open. So we still get the training in, but we may do 45 minutes to an hour of skill work first before we go to the track. But we still getting it in, but I just have to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. But I used to think back then that, them guys not touching the ball for 6 weeks, even though they were doing stuff, it just made them more hungry when they got in the gym, And, like I said, we tearing your body down, build it up physically, but not only physically, but, mentally, teaching you to be mentally tough, endure, fight through, when you get tired, all those type of things, man. And that's when you find out about your team. When you put kids through the most extreme situation, you get to learn how they react when things get tough. Some guys, you say, okay, when things get tough, they just keep finding a way, or they push their teammates. But when you have guys that every time things get tough, they want to quit, or they don't, push through, then that's the same thing gonna happen on the court when you get in that game and you down 5 with 2 minutes left to go in the game. The people who got that fight in them gonna fight and find a way to win this game. The guys that always want to quit mentally, they're not gonna give you much. So the track basically tells me everything that I need to know about my players going into that upcoming season.
Now, you said after your first year as a coach, you drill Boonville into the guy's mind. Now, my second year coaching with you at Velma, like you said, we lost. Should have won. We lost to a team named Kemper County that was led by a big football player. But unlike most football players, this football player was skilled. He had some touch. But we should have won. After that, can you tell the people what you did to drill Kemper County into the guy's mind?
Man, I think we talked about it every day. I think on
Mm-hmm.
everybody's locker we had a picture,
That's
of
right.
them with the state championship banner
Yep.
on every kid locker to remind them each and every day that they came in for practice and everything, what had happened. And then as well on Nick Weatherspoon locker, sometime after that game, he got to arguing with some of the players from Kemper County on
Uh-huh.
Twitter. And they was kind of going back and forth. They were taking some shots at him and everything. So, we screenshotted it, we printed it off, and we taped it inside his locker so that he could see it and read it
Yeah.
every single day. Because Nick is like me mentally. Like you looking for any type of edge that you're trying to get. And that used to just fuel him every day to the point where it was like he almost didn't care about the regular season. He just was like, I can't wait to get to the playoff to get the Kemper again. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things that we did that year to get us over the edge was watching the game from the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
So, because a lot of times if a team, our guys feel untouchable. We were winning every year. And a couple of them even said, like, Coach, I just felt like in no way we were gonna lose. So then sometimes when you lose, a team has a psychological advantage over you. Like you better than them, but this the team that beat me. So naturally, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way. So I felt like it was important for us to sit down and watch that game prior to us playing them from the previous season, just so they could see all the opportunities that we had to win that game, to just try to get in their head that hey, like we really should have won that game. You know, um, and I mean at that point you had to do everything you could to try to get over that edge at that point in the season.
No doubt about it. I know whenever we were in the weight room, that big football player, he had to be about 300 pounds. So they were in there struggling with some weight. I just bring up his name and bring up Kemper County, and I use some other choice words. But we all year long we were putting it on them, man. And that's why I won two with you, but that's the one for me because we went through so much. A lot of stuff we can't even talk about over here, but we went through it, man. We went through it to get that one, bro. Uh, I want you to describe, man, your relationship with Quinndary Weatherspoon. Uh, for those y'all that may not know, especially if you're in Mississippi, but all across America, what I'm saying, all my real ones throughout the world. Quinndary Weatherspoon, player for the San Antonio Spurs and Austin Spurs on a two way deal. Former Mississippi State 4-year player there, Mississippi State graduate, Mississippi State graduate. You have a very unique relationship with Quinndary. So can you describe that?
Man, I think it's kind of in between. It probably started off as a father-son relationship. Being that like when I met him, he was so young. He was ninth grade, and I think now it may have kind of developed into like a big brother, little brother type
Hmm.
situation. Because we talk
Yeah.
about pretty much everything. You know, um, if I watch a game, if I see him do something bad, like I'm probably calling him before they even finish undressing in the locker room. Like, man, why did you throw that pass or why did you do this? But, I'm constantly on him about, getting his, work done on the court and, some, off the court, financial stuff and just by making good decisions and that kind of thing. And then sometimes we just have conversations where we just talk, laugh, joke, some stuff we might see on social media and, different things. So I just think we've been around each other, for so long. Like he's one of the kids where um like I kind of took under my wing early on. We developed a strong relationship.
Yeah, because now you saw him grow from a freshman. Well, first of all, I remember my first time meeting him with Coach Daniel Menners, who was coaching in Ken. He would open up the gym, and I remember him. I remember Quinndary and Nick and Fat, this big, all skinny. You know what I'm saying? So when you got Quinndary, he probably was similar to that. You know what I'm saying? I think you told me he was just a spot shooter at that time. So you saw him grow from that to a Dan the Dozen player. He was the best player on your first three titles. Go on to do great things at Mississippi State, and then go on to get drafted into the NBA. Can you just speak to how proud you were as a coach to see his maturation from when you first met him to where he is now?
Man, it was a joy because of the work that he put in. As a coach, we love all our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love Quinndary just as much as I love all the other kids that I coach. Well, I talk to them every day, every other day. That doesn't change. Like I just have a special bond with guys who come in the program. They work hard for you 3-4 years, and do what you ask them to do. And then for the success that we had, I'm not having this conversation with you without any of those guys. Everybody plays some type of role. With Quinn, it was like people don't know when I took the job at Velma, Quinn didn't even play with us that summer. When I asked the kids, I said, we're missing somebody. They was like, you talking about Quinndary? I said, well, where he at? Oh, he transferring, coach. I said, he going where? I don't know. He's supposed to be leaving. So the very next day, I go to the counselor's office. I asked about him. And then they, was like, hey, yeah, because he played baseball too. He's supposed to be transferring. I said, has he transferred yet? They said, no. I said, well, give me a phone number. So I called him. He said, I'm in New Orleans right now. I'll be back tomorrow. I said, well, call me when you get back. Next day, I go to his house. I sit down. I talk for about 2 hours plus, with him and his mother, introduce myself, let him know that I'm the new coach at Velma, that, I heard that he may be leaving or transferring or that kind of thing, that, just wait and give me a chance, to prove myself, to work with him. And, I wanted to keep him in school because we didn't win but 2 games that summer. So I knew I needed anybody that could play, we needed. So she, listened to me for 2 hours. We talked. I didn't make her any promises or anything like that. And at the end of the conversation, she was like, I'm going to let you have him. He's all yours. And, at that time, I saw the brothers in the house, but, I didn't know they were going to be what they end up being, down the line. But my main thing was at that time, Quinndary. And the very next day, I picked him up, took him to the gym, see how he, played, that kind of thing. And once we got through that freshman year, the sophomore year, like I would pick him up for 6 a.m. workouts, and he'll tell you, man, like I used to be in the bushes at his house knocking on his window because I call his phone, he won't answer, he still asleep.
That sounds about right.
The family got used to me coming by there, so they'll hear me, they'll open the door, I go in there, pull the cover off of them and that kind of thing. But he got in the gym, man, and he worked, and he got better each year. So it was, like as a coach, every now and then you get 1 or 2 of those special guys that you like, hey man, if you play your cards right, you can make a lot of money playing this game. And a lot of time kids don't see it, they don't understand it, but I saw a lot of him with it, size, how he played, his upside, that if he did the necessary things, that he could make a lot of money playing that game, more than what I was making as a teacher, and
they try to throw that at us too, boy. Those guys.
yeah, so it was great to see his progression because he got better, each year, throughout high school and throughout college. So, his motivation as a coach when, I get that next kid that I see has a lot of potential, and then now I feel like I'm better. For some things that I knew now, I wish I had known when I was working with Quinndary.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of them, man. I'm proud of all them guys, especially the ones that are still able to make a living off doing something that they love to do. That's big.
How many total pros you got now?
Uh, we got, I think, four. I want to say four. Quinn, Robert Woodard, both of those guys being in the NBA, and then you have Kendarius. He's waiting to go back overseas once this COVID kind of clears up, and then you got Moses Greenwood, overseas now. And I had some couple guys back when I was in Yazoo City the first time that went overseas for a while.
Okay.
So man, it's great to have a small part in seeing them kind of live out their dream.
Now you also have a unique relationship with a Yazoo City legend, future Hall of Famer in my book, maybe first ballot, and that's Fletcher Cox. So can you describe your relationship with him?
That's my guy. He always tell people, I'm the first guy that kind of took him to his first NFL game when he was in high school. And that kind of, sparked his mind on, hey, I can be here one day. So, like we just, grown, got to know each other a lot more. We hang out. I usually go to Philly once or twice a year to a game. Sometimes we'll take a little trip together, different things. He's been a big supporter of the program, since I've been back in Yazoo City, helping us get a lot of things that we need, man. And, it's good to have a friend of that stature. But, like I said, when people are on that level, and no matter how much money you got or what you accomplish, you need people that's around you that's grounded. I'm not looking for anything from him, nothing like that. We just have good conversation, we laugh, we hang out, we have fun. And you like to be around genuine people like that. So like it's just we have a lot of good times together, I'll say that.
Now, did he hoop for you and your pops over there at Yazoo City?
He did. And he did a
Was he?
good job, man.
I was
Like
about to ask you, was he any good?
he was a six man off the bench. And he knew
Okay.
like no matter who messed up first, he was just waiting to go in. And we played him as a big down low. And, with his size, we had to use him to help get the ball up the floor. So he was real versatile for us, man. Played a good role and just, was always a positive minded person. Especially making the transition from football to basketball. A lot of times, if kids are a superstar on the football field and they come to another sport and they not starting or they might not be playing as much, it's hard for them to accept their role.
That's
But
true. Yeah, it's true.
with him being a superstar on the football field and being the six man off the bench, he loved it. Like he talk about it to this day, how he got a chance to see other people's mistakes, learn. So then when he got in the game, he didn't have to make those mistakes, so he knew what he had to do. So it was great having him on that team.
That says a lot about probably why he's successful now. Then you know what I'm saying, the versatility. A lot of folks can't go from football to that basketball. What would you say is your the most gratifying thing about your job, man?
Just working with the kids every day. You
Mhm.
know, we want to help them, like especially if they're kids that come from backgrounds that that we grew up in that could be difficult at times, and we made it out. So just trying to help them make it out of their current situation and using basketball as a tool to where if it's just able to get them in college, to get them an education, to allow them to see something outside of the area that they growing up in, then I think that's probably the most thing. Like I want to win championships, and I think winning championships just help validate a lot of the stuff that you're trying to get them to see and understand, and it allows me to come to the table with with these kids nowadays, you gotta have some type of rep. Like, what have you done? You know what I'm saying? So that they'll even listen to you. So I think that's like the most important thing, because we deal with so much. Like, we just, as coaches, want to do X's and O's, coach basketball. But these kids, man, you have to be a father figure. You got to be the friend. You got to, be the doctor. You got to be the teacher. You got to do everything except for coach basketball a lot of time, just to get them to the court to try to be productive. So just having some type of positive influence, man, to get them to understand that, hey, man, you're bigger than your surroundings. It's another world out there that you can see, that you could be able to go to. And I think that's big, man. I've had guys go to college and they've taken overseas trips to different countries and stuff to be able to experience different things that a lot of times, they wouldn't have had that opportunity to do. So, man, that's probably the most rewarding, seeing them, outgrow their surrounding to try to make it out and then help somebody else.
Now, I know you haven't done what you want to do there yet at Yazoo City, but just the fact that you've played there, your father became a legend there. I think y'all named the coach, the court after him now, right?
Right.
So just how gratifying is it to be the head coach of your hometown team now? And also to have the connections to and the trust of a guy like Fletcher Cox and you knowing the ins and outs and stuff like that, to also be able to try to upgrade the ability at your hometown school, because Yazoo City gets a bad rap, like Canton gets a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? Places of struggle, but there are great people in Canton, great people in Yazoo, great people in every hood in America. You know what I'm talking about? But we know the rap that it gets. So how gratifying is it to be the head coach there and try to bring that culture back to where your pop had it?
I enjoy it, um, like going and being successful at Velma. Like, I really appreciated it because it felt like I was from Velma in a sense. Like, that's how entrenched I was with that program because that was my first one. It's like your baby, you wanted to see it do well. And, we had a lot of success. When I went to Columbus, it was great, but I was only there for about 9 months. So being at Velma 6 years, you meet a lot of people, you're involved in a lot of different things. So naturally, that becomes who you are. Well, in Columbus, only being there for about 9, 10 months, I wasn't able to maybe continue to build those relationships like I did at Velma. We won and it was great. And, but coming to Yazoo City, that's home. So it's
Mhm.
like all the success that we had at other places were great. And I love all those guys. I love all the programs and what we accomplished. But if I can do that in my hometown with kids that walked the same streets that I did, went to the same schools that I did, come through the same struggles that I had to go through, that would be just like icing on the cake if we are ever able to accomplish that.
Now we've talked about the most gratifying thing then about your job, but of course there are difficulties that come with every job, but especially a high pressure, very public job like being a head basketball coach. So, what's the most difficult thing about your job?
The most difficult thing is, I'll probably say, the politics, the politics of the education game. Um, it's just, I think everything is just kind of more so driven by money. I think that they think, they say that they'll make decisions, for the betterment of the students a lot of times and this and that. But I just feel like a lot of things are just more so based off the financial aspect of it. The people at the top get richer, and the people at the lower, the ones just kind of struggle the most, and they the ones that's kind of doing the day to day work. So dealing with the politics of that of adults sometimes, and like that can get old. You know, I don't like that part of it because all I want to do is go coach my kids. You know, I know some things and challenges that I have with them are difficult sometimes, trying to get them to change certain things about themselves, do things a little better, have higher expectations. That part is not as difficult because sometimes, you know, like the just working in the school system, the constant changes, that kind of thing could just, you know, makes it difficult to go in there to do what you're trying to do with the kids.
Sticking with some of the difficult things, man. Uh, I stay on you about going and being a college coach. You know what I'm saying? I think America, I believe this man is born to be a college basketball coach. I see him being a tremendous recruiter, uh, the X and his O's of it, all that kind of stuff. And just being able to focus on basketball. Like you said, when you're a high school coach, you got to be a part of the strength, your own strength program. You got to be the therapist. You got to be the person doing the laundry. You got to personally break down the film. You got to pretty much do it all. If you ain't got nobody to drive the bus, you got to drive the bus, or at least they want you to have a bus license. But as a college basketball coach, I just know with him just being able to focus on basketball, that he would be tremendous. You know what I'm saying? I tell him this all the time. I ain't just saying this because we on camera. Can you speak to how difficult it is being, especially as a black coach?
Because I had a lot of success in other people's mind too early. You know, people don't be want to talk about that as much because, you know, like a lot of things that I probably challenges that I've endured is because people feel threatened sometimes. They look at you and say, well, this kid's only, you know, 30 some years old and he's accomplished more than what some people have done in 50, 60 years old. So from a college standpoint, you know, I still feel like everything is God's timing. You know, I always said when I get to the collegiate level, I want it to be kind of like my high school experience. I want to make sure that I'm with somebody that I can learn from and I can grow. I don't want to just be in any situation just to say, you know, I'm coaching in college. I had a couple opportunities to maybe take some junior college jobs and I didn't take them because I just felt like at that particular time I wasn't ready. You know, that's why I took the Columbus job because at Velma we were winning and we had a lot of success, but we had a lot of success because you know guys stayed in the program for 2, 3, 4 years. I was afraid in junior college level. I didn't know if my style of play, my system, and everything, if I could take a new group that came in for 1 year or 2 years, could we get them to a championship level in that small amount of time? And that's the reason why I turned down a couple of junior college opportunities. And that's why I ended up taking the Columbus job because it was like, hey, we got some decent talent, but we got to win a championship this first year. Like we got to make it happen. So winning in Columbus showed me that, hey, I could take a group of guys within a year or two or something like that, you know, get the right talent and then we can win and be successful. So, you know, that was one of the things. And then, like you say, I talk to coaches all the time, you know, man, you should be on this level, you this and that. But I know also, you know, they'll feel threatened, you know, because you get out there, you meet kids, you build relationships with them. I try to be real honest and straightforward with kids, try not to lie to them and sugarcoat, like, you know, and I know how the recruiting process work, but I know, you know, if I get on that level, you know, I'm going to be successful. And I think some other people see that. So the people who could have helped me get to that level chose not to because, you know, as the old saying go, I'm not going to hire the guy that's going to get me fired. And that's not necessarily mean I'm going to take their particular job that they have, but me getting a foot in that door and getting that experience, then now whether I'm working for you or if I'm working for somebody else, and then I got to recruit the same kids you're recruiting, now you might not get that kid that you normally was getting, you know. So I mean, I understand it, you know, but just got to be patient, man. Keep working. Understand that, you know, when you get that opportunity, if it feel right, you go for it. If it, doesn't happen, maybe it wasn't part of God's plan. I don't know. But the college game finna change, man. And I want to do it, but at the same time, I'm like, it's gonna be difficult if they pass this transfer rule where kids can transfer at least 1 year without having to sit out. Man, it's finna be the wild, wild west. You finna have coaches in the handshaking line saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a call," And if you some of the smaller programs, and I take a kid out of high school, and I'm just say I'm Southern Miss, and I take a chance on this kid out of high school, he come play for me a year or two, and now he averaging 17, 18 a game. Now Mississippi State calling, Ole Miss calling. Hey, won't you move up a level? Hey, won't give you a better chance of maybe living out your professional dream. So and like I said, in any job, man, I hate dealing with all the political, the politics and stuff. So I know it's something that I want to do, but I've been kind of closely monitoring, seeing how this game gonna go, for the future to see if there's something that I even want to have the patience to try to deal with.
Well, so far, what would you say is the most challenging thing you've had to overcome in your life?
Um, I just think probably maybe losing my mother at an early age. I think sometimes as we get older, we don't understand how some things from when we were kids may affect our thought process, affect our feelings, or the way we act, or do, certain things that we do. Sometimes when we reflect back, it all stems back from something that may have happened, during our childhood. So, I just think maybe, losing her early, I think it, sometimes you feel like you don't want to be attached to people sometimes as much because you're afraid of losing them, or different things, man. Just growing up with only a dad in the house, not having other things as far as a mother upbringing and this and that. So I think that was probably like the biggest thing, man. A lot of what ifs, because like I said, it happened so early on. So you just kind of wonder how things would have panned out, or how things would have been different if they were.
Did basketball kind of help you, deal with that trauma? Because that is trauma. You know what I'm saying? Or did you get some like therapy? I know a lot of us from the hood don't get that, what that we might need. I know I needed it. I ended up getting some at Southern Miss, but how did you overcome that?
Um, I think my dad did a good job. He did the best he could. Um, and like you said, a lot of time when he weren't there, and I was over my best friend house and that kind of thing. So I had like mother figures, you know, that would help me out, that would, be there for me, and, like I said, cook, whatever it was, like you had that. So um, I think that like all of that just helped, deal with it as you grow older and that kind of thing. So um, like I said, basketball always kind of help you escape, anything that you're going through. It's kind of like your scapegoat for those hours while you playing or practicing to help get your mind off whatever you're going through.
Who are those people that you lean on in your most difficult moments, like dealing with that or dealing with just a tough game? You know what I'm saying? Who those folks you rely on? You know what I'm saying? Kind of help you get through that kind of stuff. I feel like everybody needs those people.
My dad, number one, like, he's always been there. Um, each game, whatever happens. My wife, she supports really well. I think she takes losses sometimes harder than I do. Um, but like those are two of the main people that I have a couple friends and stuff. I text you, call you about something that I'm dealing with or something that's going on. So, I have a few people that, I reach out to, and always, you always text me something positive, especially when they get around playoff time, that kind of thing, just to make sure that I'm focused. Or if it's something with a job, I might text or call and ask you about advice. So, I have several people that I, talk to just try to, help guide me on certain decisions.
Now, speaking of people, man, that make a big impact on your life. You know, we lost a friend, a colleague, and Gerald Payton last year, and that was real tough. I know I went to see him, man. I just couldn't stop crying, man. It just he's such a big spirit. You know, anybody know Gerald Payton, know that man had a big spirit, big personality, fun loving guy, funny, hilarious guy. Uh, and I know you play baseball for him, and then actually end up working with him, and then eventually being uh, his AD. You know what I'm saying? So can you just speak on what I call GP, man, or I call him one and done too, because he came to Belma Jackson did 1 year and told them folks at the sports banquet he was gone. So can you kind of just speak on GP, man?
That was my guy, man. Like I'm still hurt to this day about it. Like I don't even, like I think about him every single day, you know. Um, and like I said, I started off like he always used to tell you like his mama used to watch me when I was, a baby. So he used to always mess with me and like, I used to change your diaper, you know what I'm saying? So like that's how long, I've known him and been around him. So, I played baseball for him. He was my teacher. Uh, I remember we took a trip to the SEC tournament when I was like 10th grade, to the women's in Memphis because his technology discovery class was in a competition up in North Mississippi. So we went to Memphis, went to the SEC championship. Um, like I said, when I started coaching, he was always one of my biggest supporters, no matter what school I was at, especially he come to a game, come to the Coliseum. I used to always try to catch his baseball games, come back to town and, catch him or whatnot. And I mean, he was just like, he was a friend, like I said, one of the funniest guys I ever been around, like,
And one of the best cooks, and one of the best
yeah,
cooks.
one of the best cooks. Like half the stuff I got in my house and I done bought is because of him. Hey man, I got this smoker, man. It does this and do that. I go get a smoke. Man, I got this air fryer. It does this and that. And you know, um, like I said, when we found out the news that he was sick, um, it just hurt. Like I still feel like more could have been done. I just felt like he got sick at the worst time dealing with COVID. That a lot of hospitals just were, so backed up dealing with COVID and the uncertainties involved in that maybe he didn't get the care that I was hoping that he could have got.
Right.
But like I said, man, we had a lot of good times together. A lot of great memories, man. And I love him and I miss him every single day, man. Like that was my guy.
Yeah, man. Long live GP, man. Long live. Uh, go by Young Phil Jackson. Okay. And I remember on your desk at Bell, you had one of Phil's books. You know what I'm saying? So I know you read that. So obviously, Phil Jackson is one of your greatest influences. And of course, I know your pops is one of your greatest influences. But who else has been one of your greatest, some of your greatest influences?
From the coaching standpoint, I look at a little bit of everybody and try to take away, like from Phil Jackson, I just try to take away his success in winning championships and, being able to manage guys when he had that type of talent, because
Mm.
that's part of coaching. Um, I'm a Kentucky fan, so I like Calipari,
Now
you know.
I'm gonna have to edit that part out now. I
Look,
can't have that on my airways. I gotta edit that out.
that's my guy because I think he does such a great job getting those guys in 1 year, and they leave and go to the league, and then he have to turn that program again the following year with brand new guys, and that is hard to do. I don't care what level you're on. I don't care what talent you got. That
Right.
is hard to get done in 1 year. And just the fact that they're able to go out and recruit, build a relationship with guys, like, I admire that.
Well, this is everybody got a story. So I'm gonna let you make it with that on here. I'm gonna have to bring you on, put it on something, and argue that point with you. Anybody else that really influenced you, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to coaching or just life in general?
Not necessarily influence. I just look at other guys, to help motivate me.
Okay.
Growing up in Mississippi, in high school basketball during the time I was coming up, you saw guys successful like, Thomas Billups, Wayne Brent,
Legendary.
Luca
Legendary.
Riley, those guys that were winning year in and year out, that kind of thing. So, and understand if I'm getting into coaching that, those were the guys you wanted to be because those were the guys that were winning every year. So, I've talked to some of them, on a personal level, some. So, I admire them from afar and I've talked to them personally and that kind of thing. So it's just one of those things where I'm a competitor. I want to, go against those guys. I want to try to accomplish some of the things that they've accomplished. And, I think right now I'm on a good track. So, those are some guys I know as far as Mississippi that I, look to motivate. It's some guys on Twitter that I met that's in other states that have accomplished a lot that, I look to as well. So, I just look at, anybody that's doing what I'm doing. If I feel like they're doing some things a little better than me or have done some things, I just try to look and see what did they do and how can I take that and apply it to what I'm doing to try to generate some of the same success.
Now that's interesting that you said you still had, respect for like Billups and Wayne Brent, those kind of guys, you know what I'm saying? Given the fact that you had one of those kind of guys in your household, you know what I'm saying? It kind of make me think about how like Braun say his kid love to watch Steph play, or D Wade, or Chris Paul. They say they kids really don't even like to see them hoop. They like the the other players,
Right.
but it's like you with that person all the time. My daughter does the same thing to me, you know what I'm saying? Some fan from across the world can say some great things about me and she'll be in here trolling me like it's nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't know what they talk about.
Pop's number one now, but you had already said you know him and
Right.
Phil
Oh,
Jackson.
let's not get it twisted. You making sure you
Oh,
ain't gonna
yeah,
get it
let's not
twisted.
get it twisted. Like, I know I'm not where I'm at.
Right.
Like, he's my biggest influence, man, because I was in the trenches with him, I was side by side with him, day in and day out. So, like, he's always number one.
But that's still big though, because that he's number one, but you still giving them guys credit. That shows that you really studying. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause them guys probably do something differently than your pop. You know what I'm talking about? And still just being a sponge and soaking in all that knowledge. What was a mistake in your life that you value because you learned from
Um, the mistakes will probably just be just normal teenage stuff you did when you was in college that was wrong or you shouldn't have been doing, or and you might not have got caught or nothing bad may not have happened to you, and you look back on your life and you was like, man, I was doing some dumb stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you just look back on it and be thankful that you survived and nothing tragically happened to you, or you didn't get hurt, or those type of things. So now that you're older, you're not doing some of the stuff that you did when in your younger days.
it. Now you know Dooley gonna see that part and throw this part right back in your face, right?
I don't know what to say about Dooley, man.
That my boy, my
I got
boy,
I
Uncle
got my
Funny.
hands cut out, man.
All right, now these next two are also ones that I ask everybody. You know what I'm talking about? I think it really speaks to who a person is. So, uh, who do you live for? Who would you say you live for?
My kids, you know, um, like I say, I know losing my mother at an early age, how that affected me. And there wasn't nothing I can do about that because she was sick. You know what I'm saying? She became ill. So, like, I know the what ifs and the different things that kind of go through my head. So I try to make better decisions now, you know, the fact that I have kids so that I'm around to try to see them grow up. Like I said, I don't, you know, we don't never know the day nor the time, what's our last day here.
Mhm.
But I try to not put myself in situation to speed that up, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like I always said, man, having Dooley, that might have saved my life, because sometimes we're just out here and we just kind of going, coming, doing stuff that, dumb stuff, as I always say. But having him, it makes you slow down. It makes you think about, hey, this might not be a great decision, or, hey, like I'm trying to get home to see my child. So I might not be hanging out in some of the same places that, you normally might hang out at, or doing certain things that you normally, accustomed to doing. So, that those guys right there, that's my heart there, man. So, and then of course, my dad, my parents, my wife, people that you're with every day that love you, that, knowing that if anything happened to you, they're gonna be devastated. So, those are the people.
Is there anything you'd be willing to die for?
My kids, if it's something where it's me or them, then hey, take me. I've had a great life. I lived thus far. I still feel like I got a lot to do, but they're so young, they haven't experienced anything yet. So, if I got to make the choice between me or them, then definitely me. Those,
And I think that's big for our former players to hear something like that. You know what I'm saying? As I've said before, I think sports are the best metaphor for life. I did a whole speech basically taking basketball and discussing life with it. You know what I'm saying? So we were trying to teach life lessons to those guys as well. You know what I'm saying? And I think for them to see you with your little boy with you at all time, for them to see how your wife would always travel wherever we were. And your wife is a registered nurse, and I know how that is because one of my youngins, uh, Brianka Dawson, she's a nurse, and that girl always on it. So for your wife still to be always around and come to the game, support you, see your pop, I know that made a big impression on our guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many of them have told you that, but I've had some real discussions with them. You know what I'm saying? With some of them, and they tell me how seeing what I do with my family, and then also seeing what you do with your family, that's made a big impression on them, man. You know what I'm saying? So I know hearing those last couple of answers, that's gonna make a big impact on them, and hopefully some other young men who out here, you lost your mom, I was fatherless, and you just kind of need that guidance from folks, and a lot of times you get that from the coaches. So that's big. I got some quick hitters for you right now.
Okay.
All right. So I'm putting you on the spot. We're gonna put it on wax. All right. So rank them: Jordan, Kobe, Braun. Come on, tell the truth. Everybody got a story. This is your story. It's going down in history in the vault.
I don't think that's a fair assessment yet, because
Oh,
LeBron's career not over.
here we go. Now you just told me you don't like the politics, and then you're gonna give me a political answer. Come on, man, rank them.
All right. Kobe 3.
Disrespectful. All right, come on.
Kobe 3. And Jordan 1A, Braun 1B.
Oh my God, this 1A, 1B. So really you're saying Jordan, Braun, Kobe. That's what you're really saying without trying to say it.
And it may change depending on the I gotta see the end of Braun's career. Because I don't think we really appreciate what he's doing, man. To be this long in the game, and no matter, okay, whenever it ends, people gonna say, you can't, Father Time gonna always win. We know that's gonna be the cliche. But realistically, he's outlasted Father Time. To be in year 18 and playing at the level that he's playing at, if you watch some of his highlights, you really can't decipher, is this year 18 or is this year 10?
Right.
Based off his performance and
Right.
the success of the team that he's playing with. And then for him to be this deep in the game and seeing a team like the Brooklyn Nets and those type of teams try to construct a team at the level that they're doing to try to beat this guy. Like, that's crazy. Like, he might not end up with as many rings as Jordan and that kind of thing, but at the same time, man, the team these people putting together to keep him from getting the ring, I think speaks volume. And then at the fact that they're doing this late in his career, he's outlasted Father Time. But we all know that when he does decline, whether it's a year from now, 2 years, they're gonna say, "Well, hey, Father Time get everybody." But to be year 18, most guys not that dominant this late in their career. Vince Carter played a lot of years, but Vince Carter wasn't at the end of his career as dominant as he was back in the Toronto Raptor days where he got a lot of success and that kind of thing. He just was playing, and we say he played 20 years or whatever, a long time. He still could dunk. But for this guy to be doing what he's doing, regardless of if he gets the rings Jordan get, man, I think that, hey, it's going to be a good conversation, man. It's going to be a good conversation.
America, y'all see that he does have he might not like politics, but he has a future in politics. He just really told us that Braun the GOAT without saying it. But I'm going to have to bring you on, put it on something for that.
Oh, I'm going to say this. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I ain't never really liked Tom Brady. But to do what he's doing at the age that he's at, man, that's a great accomplishment. And football is more of an ultimate team sport because you can have great defense, different things, you know what I'm saying? But in basketball, like we always say, you're going to have that one or two key guys on your team and then a bunch of role players. And for LeBron still to be that 1 and 2 guy on his team, I think, man, that says a lot this late in the game, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that some more then.
Yeah, we can talk about Jordan Wizard days. Jordan Wizard days is nowhere comparable to LeBron in year 18.
You giving the year. Michael Jordan was 40 in 39 and 40 years old, averaging 25 before he injured his knee over there. The Wizards stop playing.
He took a couple years off, so he was fresh.
I got another one for you. Rank them. Quinndary, Nick Weatherspoon, aka Teaspoon, and Robert Wood.
What am I basing it on? Am I basing it on just pure high school, or am I basing it on college, or what?
You've coached all of them. I've coached Quinndary and Nick. So yeah, they got just who the better basketball player. Because we didn't seen them in pickup. Some of these guys, like a Nick, you put him in the pickup, he just finna do what he can do. All these guys, really, what I'm saying? Quinndary in pickup is almost unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? So just who can hoop better than the other? Come on.
If I'm basing it off the time that I coached them,
look, I got him, America. Look how I got him.
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. If I had to rank them off of, I'm just going to... Robert and Quinn would both be kind of similar to me. But based off from the time I coached them on the high school level, I would say that Nick Weatherspoon was probably the best one as far as the high school level. And then if you really break it down to the rankings at that particular time, coming out of high school, Nick was a 5-star. Robert was probably a 4. Quinn was a 3/4. I think Quinn was great, but he just didn't have to do as much because we had so much other talent around it. Not that he couldn't do it, he just didn't have to. I just think with Nick, when we coached him, Nick did something nice as a coach where you almost forget you coaching and you're a fan, watching the game, in that sense. So, politically, all those guys are equal to me, man, because they all 3 won me a ship.
They were here, man.
They all 3 won me a ship. They all 3 were different games. Like, I never coached a kid like Robert Wood.
Mm-hmm.
I never coached a kid that was 6'6", that could shoot the ball, handle the ball. Like, I remember scratching my head that year up there like, how do I coach this?
Hey, don't forget, got the grades. Wasn't he valedictorian?
Valedictorian, you ain't have to worry about nothing off the court, going to class. Like, he was the perfect athlete.
Shout out to Robert Woodard, man. Shout out to Robert Woodard. I read in the paper that he had who was that singer he said he would listen to pregame? And I was like, man, Carlyle, what you got yourself
Daniel
into?
Caesar.
Daniel Caesar. You know what I'm saying? But then I came up there and watched y'all play, and I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I like he was the anchor of your defense back there. You were running some man, and he was being intimidating back there, blocking shots. I'm like, okay. I can roll with that. Maybe he want to chill before the game. Make good because I like he got some dog in him. So shout out to him.
Yeah, man. That's why I said they all different. They brought something different. Like I said, Barber was something I never seen before. Like Quinn, when we had guys out injury or suspended, like you'll see Quinn take his game to another level. And then, like I said, we was up 40 most of the time. So he didn't even play the second half. And it just some of the things that you wish you could have, maybe saw him do, you didn't get to because he just didn't have to do it at that particular time. But Nick had to do every single thing, and he did some things on the court, man, that you almost forget your coaching sometimes. You become a fan.
That's a great head coach answer. Great political answer. But I think, Nick Teaspoon, you got enough out of that answer to make your day when you watch this. Rank them. Pac, Tupac, Holmes, and Lil Boosie.
Jay-Z, Boosie, Pac.
Why are you getting on here and lying to America? You know you got Lil Boosie first, man. America, this the biggest Lil Boosie fan I know. Tell him how you got your car. The car you were paying the $525 for. Who influenced you to get that car?
Got on that DVD and said if you see a 50, you know what I'm saying? Like, but no, like Jay-Z my number one. Like, I love Hov. Like, you know what I'm saying? I respect Hov to be as old as he is. Like, he dropped a song with Nipsey or whatever. Like, he still be relevant, you know what I'm saying? At this point in the game, you're talking about somebody that came out in the 90s. Like, I was riding to practice one day with one of my players, and I was playing some Hov, and, like, they didn't know what I was listening to. I played some Cash Money. They didn't know what I was listening to.
Well, hold on. I got something coming with that. All right. Rank them. Because I want to ask you this one because you played point guard. When I coached with you, you gave point guards hell. Your point guard was finna catch it from you. Didi can speak to this. Okay? I know Didi can speak to this. So, rank them. And this from this standpoint, I will give you this on this one. You building your team. So this ain't really who you think better per se. This is you're the head coach / GM. Okay? Or let's say you in college and you recruit. Who do you want as your starting point guard for the team you're building? Magic, CP3, or Steph? And in what order?
Probably in the order that you gave. I'm probably going Magic. I'm going CP3. And then I'm going Steph. And the reason why you talking about Magic size at that position, that's hard to guard. Person that can distribute and do the things that he do. CP3, he'll guard, he'll make shots, and that kind of thing. And then Steph, to me, he's a great shooter. But, I'm a defensive coach too. So, like, unless I'm finna have a bunch of more guys around him that can lock down and defend, but I got to take those guys, man. I just feel like CP3 has done enough throughout his career to stay relevant and be a solid. Like, if you talk about point guards now, like, he's in the conversation, at this late in the game. I just hate that he's been unable to win a championship. But as far as a coach, and you talking about the point guard position, like he's probably one of the like guys that you use as an example of being a point guard.
Now, you know, our former player Robert Anderson is going to blow you up about that particular answer because he is a Steph Curry stan. He needs some therapy when it comes to Steph Curry, but I can't disagree with you on that assessment. All right, on this one, you got to either or. Old No Limit or old Cash Money.
Cash Money.
Ooh, you ain't even hesitate? No hesitation.
I'm CMB always, baby. Cash Money baller, baby.
In America, we talking pre-Drake. We talking about pre the Carters. No Nicki. We talking about Juvie, Turk, BG, Lil Wayne. You talking about the big timers. We talking about them.
Man, okay. Look, me and my wife still argue about that today.
She wrote, I think she team No Limit, ain't it?
No Limit. Yeah, I love No Limit, but between two on Cash Money, we've been in the car like arguing before on long road trips, and then we'll just take turns. Like she'll play a No Limit song, I'll play a Cash Money song. Then we'll try to rate like who won that one, kind of almost like the versus battle. Versus. So, but I'm always Cash Money.
Okay. I respect that. I love both of them. I'm gonna have to roll with your wife on that one though. All right. Last one of the quick hitters. Better coach, you or your pops? And don't bring me that humble stuff. Give me your real answer.
The reason why I'm going to say him is simply because the only reason you can ask me that question is because of the stuff that he taught me. Had it been where he was coaching and I got into coaching, but I didn't start under him, I didn't work under him, but I end up being successful as well, then I would probably say me. But the fact that this the guy that gave me the foundation, this the one that taught me certain things, then, you know, like I said, even on the first championship, that's why I say, man, coaching, man, it's the small details that sometimes we don't pay attention to. He called me my second year coaching, and he said, man, I've been working on this little offense, something that I'm adding in. You ought to check it out. So he was trying to explain it to me on the phone. I couldn't really grasp it. I got to see it. So he said, man, come over here and check us out practicing one day. I kind of show it to you. I'm stubborn. I'm like, man, I'm not finna drive to Yazoo. I don't feel like it. And I drove over there one day and I watched him and I was intrigued. I was like, it's not bad, you know? So I wanted to learn more about it, which I, did and followed up on it, read some more stuff, watched some more video. He showed me some stuff. And on that first championship run, we was in the championship game and we were down 1. And one of the things that he showed me in that offense was what I used coming out of a timeout that ended up getting us the lead, which allowed us to win that first championship. So, I always think back, what if I would have just been stubborn and never drove over there just to watch? Sometimes it just be the little smallest thing that, turn out to be one of the biggest things for us. So that's why I have to say him, because if not, I wouldn't have gotten some of the things that I needed as far as that foundation. And now there's some things I've done since then that even when he was coaching, I used to call him and give him stuff offensively and different things, and I've grown in my own right. But that foundation started with him. So I'm just kind of like I say like a byproduct of him, but maybe like taking it to another level. I say that. So I go with him.
That's what's up. So what do you hope others can learn from your story, man?
Just understanding whether it's in coaching or whatever it is that you're doing and you want to be successful, man. Number one, you got to work hard. And I think you got to surround yourself around people that are doing what you're trying to do to be successful. because you could be working hard, but you're working hard going in the wrong direction. So just kind of understanding what field you're trying to be in, and then surround yourself with people that's in that field that you maybe admire or look up to, that have done what you're trying to do. And whether you're able to build a relationship with them or not, or able to kind of see how they've done some things from afar, I think that's what you have to do. You have to surround yourself with people. And then once you do that and you get that foundation, man, you just got to work hard. Just put your all into it. And if you continue to do that, then the table's going to eventually turn and you're going to start seeing the results that you desire.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, man, I appreciate you for sharing your story with the people. I really think that they can gain a lot from it, especially these young men who love the game. They got these hoop dreams to go and be in the NBA, but everybody ain't getting to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, the two best players we talked about right now with Quinndary and Robert. You know what I'm saying? What, Quinndary got drafted second round. I think Robert got drafted when what,
Second round.
second round as well. And these are the best guys. You know, the most talented guys you've coached. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard, but I think your story can show people, if you love the game, study the game, you can coach it forever. Father Time might be undefeated. Well, it's undefeated when it comes to all of us in the grand scheme of things. But in terms of, you might lose your athletic ability in your 30s, you know what I'm saying, 40s. But you can do what you're doing until you leave this thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think your story can really inspire some young men and women who love the game and really study the game and maybe go have some success that way, man. So I appreciate you doing this. I know you mentioned me, sending you motivational texts and saying motivational things to you, but I was cleaning up one of my social medias and went all the way back to posts that were made like when we were in college, and this is when I was, out there moving them mixtapes hand to hand, going to barber shops, posting up in the middle of the middle of campus with my own CD player and playing my music. You know what I'm saying? Because the DJ wouldn't spin it. And I saw a post you had made to me, man, and you were just like, you know, I'm gonna have to clean it up here. But you said, man, basically just keep spitting, your time coming. You know what I'm talking about? And so I saw that, man, and I was like, man, I really appreciate you for that. You know what I'm talking about? Because uh, I'm seeing a lot of the things I was doing come to fruition now. You know, I had to take a risk and leave teaching and coaching to get out here in this business world, and I'm seeing things come to light. You know what I'm talking about? But I know when I had my wedding anniversary and had a video shoot for that, you were there for me. You know what I'm talking about? When we did the EP release, you know what I'm talking about? You were there. You were in my music video, you know what I'm talking about, showing love. So I appreciate that, and of course appreciate you doing this, man. So much love to you. Keep doing your thing. I do believe you're gonna bring a ring to Yazoo City. Hopefully with COVID over, I'm able to get out there and interact with the guys a little bit, in the practice. Man, I got that book, got that itch again, man. I ain't been around no ball. I ain't went off on a player in a minute, Carlisle. You know what I'm saying? I would start doing some individual workouts with some kids, but just, the practice. I love practice. The game can be a lot of BS because you got the $7 coaches saying what they saying. They don't know a thing about the game and all that kind of stuff, but they yapping at us and stuff like that. But being in there teaching, man, that's a great feeling. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm gonna have to come get with you, man. But again, I appreciate you and wish you all the luck, dog. Tell my boy Thugger what's happening.
I got you, man. I appreciate you having me, dog.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, so that was my interview with Anthony Carlyle, head coach of Yazoo City High School in Yazoo City, Mississippi. Uh, Hopefully, y'all took from his story the importance of fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? You kept hearing him go back to something his dad told him, or watching his dad, or you know what I'm saying, his dad being able to put him in position, whether we talking about when he played for his father, you know what I'm saying, a coach's primary job. is to put you in position to be successful. Okay? That's what a coach's job is to do. Because a coach cannot play the game for you. But a coach can put you in position to be successful, and then it's on you. Well, that's what his father did. And that's what all fathers and mothers need to do. You can't play the game of life for your child as a parent. You can't do it. But it's your job. It's your job to put your child in position to be successful. Give them the training that they need to be successful. Give them the tools that they need to be successful. And then they got to take that and run with it. And that's what you've seen Coach Carlyle do. Yeah, you can say, well, oh, you wouldn't have done this without your power. But it's a two-way street. His dad can only give him the game, but he couldn't make him play it. And he's taking that game and he's run with it. And now he's doing the same thing to his own children. You heard him say his children are the ones he lives for. His children are the ones he would die for. And I think there are millions of men around this world that need to hear that and step up and be better fathers. And young men who maybe are not fathers yet need to think about, if you're not ready to be that kind of father to your child, you don't need to have none yet. And you wait on that decision. Wait to make that decision to have children when you're ready to have that kind of responsibility. Because that's real right there. That's what a real man looks like when he's ready to take care of his family. So shout out to Coach Carlyle for being a real one, take care of his family. That's more important than any other championships that he's ever won. I'm sure he'll say that same thing. Also, persevering, you know what I'm saying, with losing his mother and just having to deal with that. You know, that's something that's a lifelong thing. That's something that bothers you forever because that's a one-on-one relationship. You know, you only got one mother. You can have mother figures, a stepmother, but nothing replaces that DNA. You know what I'm saying? So just having to be mentally tough and still go and accomplish the things he's accomplished without his mom, you know what I'm saying, is leaning on his pops and leaning on the game, you know what I'm saying, leaning on friends. You know, that shows us that, you know, we always experience difficult things in this life, but if one person was able to overcome it, you can as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that his story has inspired you, especially the young men that we coach and young men around the world. Again, the game of basketball teaches so many lessons about whatever you may do in your life. So I hope you take that, be motivated, be inspired, and go get to it. I appreciate y'all for viewing. Make sure you follow me across all social media platforms. Make sure you visit statementteesllc.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear makes a statement. And remember, everybody got a story. So listen. One. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit statementteesllc.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.